Captain Zara Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, watching the alien world grow larger on the main screen. 3 moons hung in the purple sky like broken promises. The planet below was covered in thick forests and silver cities that gleamed like jewels scattered across green velvet. "Final approach in 10 minutes, Captain," reported Lieutenant Torres from the navigation station. His voice carried the weight of what they all knew was coming. Zara nodded, her dark eyes reflecting the harsh bridge lighting. Around her, the crew moved with practiced efficiency, but she could feel the tension radiating from each person. They all knew what waited for them on Kepler 442b. They all knew what they had been ordered to do. The communication panel buzzed. "Captain, incoming priority transmission from Fleet Command. Put it through." Admiral Harrison's weathered face appeared on the screen. His gray uniform was perfectly pressed, his medals catching the light. But his eyes held something cold that made Zara's stomach clench. "Captain Chen, I want to make this absolutely clear. The creatures on this planet are extremely dangerous. Our advanced scouts barely escaped with their lives. These things killed 12 of our people before we could retreat. Your orders are simple. Eliminate the threat. Complete extermination. No exceptions." Zara felt her throat tighten. "Sir, what about civilian populations? Our scans show several cities. There are no civilians, Captain. These creatures are all hostile. Every last one of them poses a threat to human expansion in this sector. The Colonial Senate has voted. This planet will be cleared for human settlement." Admiral Harrison's voice grew harder. "You have your orders. Harrison out." The screen went black. The bridge fell silent except for the hum of engines and the soft beeping of instruments. Dr. Sarah Martinez, the ship's xenobiologist, stepped forward from her position near the science station. "Captain, I've been studying the data from the advanced scouts. Something doesn't add up about their reports." "What do you mean?" "The physical evidence doesn't match their descriptions. They claim these creatures are savage beasts. But the cities we're seeing are clearly advanced. The architecture is beautiful, complex. These aren't the settlements of mindless animals." Lieutenant Commander Jake Rivers, the ship's tactical officer, crossed his arms. "Maybe they're smart predators. Wolves can be intelligent too. But that doesn't make them any less dangerous." Dr. Martinez shook her head. "It's more than that. The energy signatures I'm reading suggest technology more advanced than ours in some areas. Their power sources are incredibly efficient and clean. Would savage beasts develop something like that?" Zara studied the data flowing across her screens. The planet was beautiful. No doubt about that. The forests looked healthy and vibrant. The cities seemed to blend seamlessly with the natural landscape rather than dominating it. It was hard to picture this as the home of mindless killers. "Captain," called Ensign Kim from communications, "I'm picking up transmissions from the planet. They appear to be..." "Music? Music?" Zara moved to the communications station. "Let me hear it." The bridge speakers filled with a hauntingly beautiful melody. It rose and fell like wind through trees, with harmonies that seemed to touch something deep in the human soul. Whatever was making this music understood beauty, understood art. Savage beasts didn't create symphonies. "There's something else, Captain," Dr. Martinez said quietly. "I've been analyzing the advanced team's weapon discharge logs. They fired first. The creatures only attacked after our people started shooting." The words hung in the air like an accusation. Around the bridge, Zara could see her crew exchanging uncertain glances. This wasn't the briefing they had received. They had been told the creatures attacked without provocation. "Orders are orders," Lieutenant Commander Rivers said, but his voice lacked conviction. "Command knows more than we do about the situation." "Do they?" Dr. Martinez challenged. "Or do they know exactly what they want us to believe?" Zara felt the weight of command pressing down on her shoulders. She had never questioned orders before. Not directly. But she had also never been asked to potentially commit genocide before. The music from the planet continued to play, beautiful and peaceful. "Captain, we're being hailed," Ensign Kim announced. The transmission is coming from the largest city on the northern continent. Can they speak our language? It appears they can, Captain. The transmission is in perfect English. Zara felt ice form in her veins. If these creatures could speak English, they had been monitoring human communications. They knew what was coming. Put it through. The main screen flickered and showed a figure that made several crew members gasp. It stood roughly 8 feet tall and was covered in fur that shifted color like oil on water. Its face was elongated but clearly intelligent, with large eyes that held an unmistakable sadness. When it spoke, its voice was deep but gentle. Human ship, we know why you have come. We have heard your military transmissions. We do not wish to fight. Please, allow us to speak. Zara found her voice. This is Captain Chen of the UES Defiance. Who am I speaking with? I am Kethra, speaker for the unified clans of this world. We have been waiting for this day with heavy hearts. We know what your people believe about us. But it is not true. We are not the monsters your scouts described. Our advance team was attacked. 12 humans died. The creature's eyes grew sadder. Yes, and we mourn them deeply. But your warriors came with weapons drawn. They fired upon our young ones who approached in curiosity. We defended ourselves only after great provocation. We tried to communicate, but they would not listen. Dr. Martinez looked at Zara meaningfully. Her analysis had been correct. Kethra continued. We understand your fear. When two species first meet, misunderstanding is common. But we offer peace. We offer friendship. Our worlds could benefit from each other's knowledge. Lieutenant Commander Rivers stepped closer to Zara. Captain, this could be a trick. They might be buying time to prepare defenses. But as Zara looked at the alien on the screen, she saw no deception. The creature's posture was open, vulnerable. Its great hands were empty and held where they could be seen. Most telling of all, its eyes held the same weight that she felt. The burden of being responsible for the lives of others. Speaker Kethra, my orders are to eliminate all life on this planet, to prepare for human colonization. My superiors believe your people pose an existential threat. And what do you believe, Captain Chen? The question hit like a physical blow. What did she believe? She believed in following orders, in the chain of command, in doing her duty to Earth and humanity. But she also believed in justice, in truth, in protecting the innocent. And everything she was seeing suggested these were not monsters but people. I believe, Zara said carefully, that the truth matters more than convenience. Kethra's expression seemed to brighten slightly. Then perhaps there is hope. Captain, we have a proposal. Send down a small team. Let them see our cities. Meet our people. Let them judge for themselves whether we are the beasts your leaders claim. That could be dangerous for my crew. We will provide guarantees for their safety. Choose your strongest warriors if you wish. They will be protected by our most honored guards. But choose also your wisest, for wisdom sees what strength cannot. Zara thought quickly. The mission parameters were clear. Eliminate the alien threat. But those parameters were based on intelligence that was clearly flawed or deliberately misleading. As a Starfleet captain, she had a duty to verify threats before acting on them. Dr. Martinez, Lieutenant Commander Rivers, prepare for an away mission. Take a full security detail, but keep weapons holstered unless directly threatened. Captain, Rivers protested. This could be walking into a trap. Everything could be a trap, Jake. But committing genocide based on lies is definitely a trap. One that would destroy our souls. She turned back to the screen. Speaker Kethra, we accept your offer. But understand, if this is deception, if any harm comes to my people, the consequences will be severe. Understood, Captain. And if this is the beginning of friendship, the benefits will be beyond measure. As the transmission ended, Zara felt the weight of history settling on her shoulders. In the next few hours, she would either prevent a terrible injustice or lead her crew into danger. But she knew one thing with certainty. The music still playing from the planet below was not the sound of monsters. It was the sound of people who valued beauty, who understood art, who were capable of the very things that made humanity special. And that changed everything. The away team prepared their equipment as the Defiance entered orbit. Below them, a world waited to reveal its secrets. Above them, the stars watched as two species approached a crossroads that would determine whether their futures would be written in friendship or blood. Captain Chen stood at her window, watching the alien world turn slowly beneath them, and wondered if she was about to make the most important decision of her career or the last mistake of her life. The shuttle descended through clouds that sparkled with strange, bioluminescent particles. Dr. Martinez pressed her face to the window, watching the alien landscape unfold below. The forests were even more magnificent up close, with trees that seemed to pulse gently with inner light. The cities weren't built on top of the landscape but grown from it, as if the buildings themselves were living things. Atmospheric composition is perfect for humans, reported Corporal Jackson from the pilot's seat. Temperature is comfortable. Gravity is 0.9. Earth normal. Lieutenant Commander Rivers checked his sidearm for the 5th time since launch. Remember, weapons stay holstered unless I give the order. But stay alert. We don't know what we're walking into. Dr. Martinez looked at the 6-person security team crowded into the shuttle. They were good people, professional soldiers who followed orders, but she could see the tension in their faces, the way their hands stayed close to their weapons. The advance team's reports had painted these aliens as savage monsters. Old habits of fear died hard. There, she said, pointing out the window. The landing coordinates they gave us. The shuttle touched down in a clearing surrounded by towering trees that hummed softly in harmonious tones. The sound wasn't random. It was definitely musical, as if the forest itself was singing a welcoming song. "That's not natural," muttered Sergeant Davis, a grizzled veteran with scars from the Centauri conflicts. "Maybe not," Dr. Martinez replied, "but it's beautiful." The shuttle's ramp lowered with a soft hiss. The air that flowed in was sweet and clean, carrying scents of flowers and something else. Something that reminded Dr. Martinez of her grandmother's kitchen, warm and safe. Lieutenant Commander Rivers stepped out first, hand near his weapon but not drawn. The clearing was empty except for the singing trees and a path that led deeper into the forest. Strange butterflies with wings like stained glass fluttered between the branches. "Dr. Martinez," called Corporal Jackson from inside the shuttle. "I'm reading multiple life forms approaching. Large ones." Rivers immediately signaled his team into defensive positions. "How large?" "Bigger than humans. Moving slowly, but there are a lot of them." Through the trees, they could hear something approaching. Heavy footsteps, but rhythmic, almost ceremonial. The forest's song grew louder, more complex, as if announcing the arrival of something important. Dr. Martinez felt her heart racing but forced herself to remain calm. "Remember, they invited us here. If they wanted to hurt us, they could have attacked the shuttle." The first alien emerged from the tree line, and even though Dr. Martinez had seen Speaker Keth Ra on the view screen, meeting one in person was breathtaking. This one was smaller than Keth Ra but still impressive, 7 feet tall with fur that shifted between deep blue and silver. Its eyes were large and intelligent, filled with curiosity rather than hostility. Behind it came others. Not a war party, but what was clearly a welcoming committee. Some carried what looked like instruments, devices that probably created the forest's music. Others held baskets filled with colorful fruits and flowers, but it was the smallest member of the group that caught everyone's attention. A young alien, barely 4 feet tall, with fur that sparkled gold in the filtered sunlight. It moved with the boundless energy of youth, clearly excited to see the strange visitors from space. "Steady," Rivers whispered to his team. But Dr. Martinez could see the soldiers relaxing slightly. It was hard to feel threatened by a group that included what was obviously a child. The lead alien stepped forward and spoke in perfect English. "Welcome, humans from the stars. I am Yeth Ka, guide of the eastern forests. We are honored by your presence." Rivers stepped forward but kept his hand near his weapon. "I'm Lieutenant Commander Rivers. This is Dr. Martinez. We're here at the invitation of Speaker Kethra. Yes, we have been expecting you. Please, follow the path. Our city awaits, and there is much to show you. As they walked deeper into the forest, Dr. Martinez marveled at what she saw. The trees themselves seemed to be homes. Doorways and windows carved into living trunks. But the trees appeared healthy and thriving. Gardens grew in impossible spirals up the sides of massive oaks. Bridges made of woven vines connected tree to tree, high above their heads. "How do you do this without hurting the trees?" she asked Yethka. "We do not take from the forest," the alien replied with what might have been a smile. "We join with it. We ask permission. We give back more than we take. The trees are our partners, not our possessions." Sergeant Davis looked skeptical. "Trees can't think. They can't give permission." Yethka paused and placed a large, clawed hand gently on a nearby trunk. The tree's humming grew slightly louder, and its bioluminescent patterns pulsed more brightly. "Can they not? Perhaps you simply don't know how to listen." The young alien, apparently named Zix, according to the others, had been darting back and forth along the path, clearly fascinated by the human visitors. It kept a respectful distance, but its large eyes never left them. "The young one seems curious about us," Dr. Martinez observed. "Zix has never seen beings like you before," Yethka explained. "We have watched your broadcasts from space, but seeing you in person is different. Zix finds your small size amusing but endearing." "Small size?" Corporal Jackson laughed nervously. "We're the small ones." As they crested a hill, the alien city spread out before them, and Dr. Martinez's breath caught in her throat. It was like nothing human architects had ever imagined. Buildings grew from the earth itself, their walls covered in flowering vines and glowing moss. Rivers of clean water flowed through the streets in carefully designed channels, creating a constant melody of moving water. Aliens moved through the city with grace and purpose. Some tended floating gardens that defied gravity. Others worked on intricate sculptures that seemed to be made of solidified music. Children, if that's what they were, played games that involved creating patterns of light in the air. "This is beautiful," Dr. Martinez whispered. "But where are the defenses?" Rivers asked, his tactical mind still working. "Where are the weapons? The military installations?" Yethka looked puzzled. "Why would we need such things? For protection, for war. Every civilization has armies. Every human civilization," Yethka corrected gently. "We solved the problem of war differently." Before Rivers could ask what that meant, young Zix suddenly cried out in excitement. The child had been exploring ahead and had apparently discovered something wonderful. It came bounding back toward them, chattering in its own language. "Zix says there are more humans in the city," Yethka translated. "Your advance team survivors." Dr. Martinez and Rivers exchanged shocked looks. "Survivors? Our advance team was killed." "No," Yethka said sadly. 3 of your people died in the initial conflict, and we mourn them deeply. But 9 others were injured and have been in our healing centers. We have been caring for them for several weeks." The implications hit Rivers like a physical blow. If the advance team had survivors, if they were being cared for, rather than held prisoner, then everything Admiral Harrison had told them was a lie. Young Zix was bouncing with excitement, chattering rapidly. Yethka listened, and then translated with obvious amusement. "Zix wants to know if all humans are as small and soft as you. It thinks you look like you need protecting." Before anyone could respond, a commotion erupted from the city below. Alarms were sounding. Not harsh mechanical sirens, but musical warnings that harmonized with the city's natural song. Aliens were looking to the sky with expressions of concern. "What's happening?" Dr. Martinez asked. Yethka's fur darkened with worry. "Ships. Many ships approaching from orbit. Your fleet has arrived." Rivers activated his communicator. "Defiance. This is Rivers. Report." Captain Chen's voice crackled through with tension. "Commander, we have a problem. Admiral Harrison's entire battle group just dropped out of hyperspace, 27 ships, including 3 dreadnoughts. They're demanding immediate communication." Through the communicator, They could hear Admiral Harrison's voice in the background, angry and commanding. "Captain Chen, you were supposed to have completed your mission hours ago. Why is this planet still inhabited?" Dr. Martinez felt ice form in her stomach. The Admiral wasn't here to verify their findings. He was here to make sure the job got done. One way or another. Young Zix sensed the sudden tension and moved closer to Dr. Martinez, seeking comfort. Without thinking, she knelt down and put her arm around the child's shoulders. The fur was incredibly soft, and she could feel the young alien trembling. "It's going to be okay," she whispered, though she wasn't sure she believed it herself. Rivers was speaking rapidly into his communicator, trying to explain what they had found, but Admiral Harrison's responses grew increasingly angry. The battle group was moving into attack formation. "They're going to destroy the city," Yethka said quietly. "All of it. Everyone." Around them, adult aliens were gathering their children, moving with the calm efficiency of people who had practiced emergency procedures. But Dr. Martinez noticed something strange. They weren't running to shelters or preparing weapons. They were forming circles, joining hands, beginning to sing. "What are they doing?" Rivers asked. "Preparing," Yethka replied. "For battle? For forgiveness." Young Zix looked up at Dr. Martinez with eyes that held too much understanding for something so young. It spoke softly in its own language. "What did it say?" Dr. Martinez asked. Yethka's voice was heavy with sadness. "Zix said that it knows you didn't want this to happen. It said that maybe humans and our people could have been friends in a different time." Dr. Martinez felt tears burning in her eyes. Around them, the city's song was growing stronger, more beautiful, as if the aliens were determined to fill their last moments with beauty rather than fear. But then something unexpected happened. Young Zix pulled away from Dr. Martinez and walked directly toward Sergeant Davis, the most intimidating member of the security team, the man who had been most suspicious of the aliens throughout their visit. The child looked up at the battle-scarred soldier and, without warning, wrapped its small arms around Davis's waist in an unmistakable hug. For a moment, time seemed frozen. The grizzled sergeant stood perfectly still, looking down at the alien child who was embracing him with complete trust. Around them, the city's song continued, but something in the air had changed. Slowly, carefully, Sergeant Davis's hands moved to pat the child's back. His voice, when he spoke, was rough with emotion. "Rivers," he said quietly, "we can't let this happen. These aren't monsters. They're just people." It was then that Dr. Martinez realized the true purpose of their mission. They weren't here to verify intelligence or assess threats. They were here to make a choice between orders and conscience, between following commands and protecting innocence. And as young Zix continued to hug a human soldier while ships prepared to rain death from above, Dr. Martinez understood that this moment would define not just their mission, but the entire future relationship between two species. The question was, what choice would they make? The moment stretched like eternity. Young Zix continued to hug Sergeant Davis while the alien city sang its haunting song below them. Above, Admiral Harrison's battle group moved into attack formation, weapons charging for what would be total annihilation. Dr. Martinez activated her communicator with shaking hands. "Captain Chen, you need to hear this. The advance team has survivors. 9 of them are alive and being cared for by the aliens. This whole mission is based on false intelligence." Captain Chen's voice carried across the channel. "Say that again, Doctor." "The aliens didn't attack without provocation. They defended themselves after our people fired first. These aren't monsters, Captain. They're a peaceful civilization that's been trying to prevent exactly this situation." From the background, Admiral Harrison's angry voice could be heard. "Captain Chen, I don't care what your landing party thinks they've found. You have your orders. Begin bombardment immediately." "Admiral." Captain Chen's voice was steady but strained. "I need to verify these reports before taking action." "Dr. Martinez, put one of the alien leaders on the channel." Yethka stepped forward and spoke into the communicator. "Admiral Harrison, I am Yethka of the Eastern Forest Clans. We know you believe us to be dangerous, but we ask only for the chance to prove our peaceful intentions. Admiral Harrison's response was cold. I don't negotiate with non-human entities. Captain Chen, if you don't begin bombardment in 30 seconds, I will relieve you of command and order Captain Morrison of the Retribution to complete the mission. Dr. Martinez felt her heart sinking. Captain Morrison was known throughout the fleet as a by-the-book officer who never questioned orders. He would fire without hesitation, but then something unexpected happened. Young Zix released Sergeant Davis and walked to the communicator. In perfect English, with a voice that carried surprising authority for such a small being, it spoke. Admiral Harrison, this is Zix Cautel, youngest member of the High Council of Kepler, 442b. Before you destroy us, perhaps you would like to know why we have been waiting for humanity to arrive. The silence that followed was profound. Even the city's singing seemed to pause. Waiting for us? Dr. Martinez whispered. Zix nodded, and suddenly the child seemed older, wiser. We have been monitoring your species for over 200 years. We have watched your growth, your struggles, your potential. We have been waiting to see what choice you would make when faced with beings different from yourselves. Yeth Ka placed a gentle hand on Dr. Martinez's shoulder. Dr. Martinez, there is something you must understand. We are not the helpless people you believe us to be. As if in response to its words, the alien city began to change. The gentle, organic buildings shimmered and revealed themselves to be far more than they appeared. Crystalline structures emerged from within the living architecture, pulsing with energy that made the air itself hum with power. We have had the ability to defend ourselves since before your species left its home planet, Yeth Ka continued. Our technology is ancient, our understanding of the universe deep. We could have destroyed your fleet the moment it entered our system. Lieutenant Commander Rivers stepped back in shock. Then why didn't you? Young Zix answered with the innocent wisdom that only children possess. Because destroying others who are afraid makes you become the monster they feared you were. We wanted to see if humans could choose to see past their fear. Dr. Martinez stared at the transformed city. Energy fields were visible now. Protective barriers that could probably stop anything the human fleet could throw at them. The aliens hadn't been helpless. They had been patient. The advance team, she said suddenly. The ones who died, that wasn't self-defense, was it? Yeth Ka's expression grew sad. 3 of your people died because we were too slow to understand their fear. By the time we realized they saw us as threats, some had already fired. We saved who we could, but 3 were lost before we could protect them. Their deaths weigh heavily on us. Admiral Harrison's voice cut across the channel. I don't care about alien fairy tales. Captain Morrison, prepare to fire. Target the largest city. But another voice interrupted, one Dr. Martinez recognized with relief. Belay that order. Captain Chen's voice was firm. Admiral, I'm invoking Article 7 of the Colonial Charter. As ranking officer on scene, I'm declaring this a first contact situation requiring diplomatic evaluation, not military action. Captain Chen, you are relieved of command for refusing direct orders. No, sir. I'm not. Captain Chen's voice grew stronger. Because I'm not alone in this decision. Captain Morrison, what's your assessment? There was a pause before Captain Morrison's voice came through the channel. Admiral, I've been monitoring the communications. If there are survivors from the advance team being cared for by these aliens, and if they've had the power to destroy us but haven't used it, then Captain Chen is right. This is a diplomatic situation, not a military one. One by one, other ship captains began to voice their agreement. Admiral Harrison's authority was crumbling as his officers chose conscience over blind obedience. Young Zix looked up at Dr. Martinez with eyes that sparkled with hope. Your people are choosing compassion. This is what we have been waiting to see. But why? Dr. Martinez asked. Why test us at all? It was Yeth Ka who answered. Because we have been alone in this galaxy for so long. We have found many species among the stars, but none who showed the potential to grow beyond their fear. Most civilizations we encounter either attack immediately or try to worship us as gods. You are the first we have found who can choose differently. Sergeant Davis, still shaken by his encounter with Zix, spoke up. What happens now? Young Zix smiled, an expression that somehow translated perfectly despite the alien features. Now we find out if humans can be the partners we have hoped for. The communicator crackled to life again, but this time it was Captain Chen's voice, calm and determined. Admiral Harrison, you are under arrest for conspiracy to commit genocide based on falsified intelligence. Security teams, escort the Admiral to the brig. You can't do this! Harrison's voice was desperate. The Colonial Senate approved this operation, based on lies you provided, Captain Chen replied. Dr. Martinez, I need you to ask our alien friends if they would be willing to provide testimony about what really happened with the advance team. Yethka spoke into the communicator. Captain Chen, we would be honored to help seek truth and justice. But we offer more than testimony. We offer partnership. What kind of partnership? Young Zix answered with the enthusiasm of youth. We have watched your species for centuries. You are explorers, inventors, dreamers. We are gardeners, healers, teachers. Together, we could accomplish wonders. Dr. Martinez felt tears of relief rolling down her cheeks. You mean, this doesn't have to end in war? War is always a choice, Yethka said gently. Today, your people chose differently. They chose to listen rather than destroy, to question rather than obey, to protect rather than kill. This is why we have waited for humanity. As if to punctuate its words, the alien city's song changed. What had been a melody of sorrow and farewell transformed into something joyful and welcoming. Other voices joined in from around the planet, millions of aliens singing together in harmonies that spoke of hope and friendship. Lieutenant Commander Rivers looked around at the transformed city, at his security team who had lowered their weapons completely, at the aliens who stood ready to welcome them as friends rather than fight them as enemies. I don't understand, he said. If you're so powerful, so advanced, why do you need us? Young Zix bounded over to him and, without hesitation, gave him the same trusting hug it had given Sergeant Davis. Because power without compassion is empty. Because knowledge without wisdom is dangerous. Because being alone among the stars, no matter how strong you are, is still being alone. Dr. Martinez watched this interaction and finally understood. The aliens hadn't been testing humanity's strength or intelligence. They had been testing their character. Could humans, when faced with beings different from themselves, choose understanding over fear? Could they question authority when authority was wrong? Could they protect innocence, even when it wore an alien face? The answer, beautifully demonstrated by a gruff sergeant's gentle response to a child's hug, was yes. Captain Chen's voice came through the communicator again. Dr. Martinez, I need you and your team to begin formal diplomatic contact. We have a lot to learn about our new neighbors. As the human fleet powered down its weapons and moved into peaceful orbit, young Zix looked up at Dr. Martinez with eyes bright with possibility. Will you stay and learn about us? The child asked. Will you teach us about you? Dr. Martinez knelt down to Zix's eye level and smiled. For as long as you'll have us. Around them, the city's song grew stronger. Joined now by human voices, as crew members from the ships above began to add their own melodies to the growing symphony. Two species, so different in form but so similar in heart, had found each other among the stars. Later, when historians would write about this day, they would call it the moment humanity truly began its journey into the galactic community. They would say it was the day humans proved they could be more than conquerors. They could be friends. But for Dr. Martinez, watching young Zix dance with Sergeant Davis while alien and human voices sang together under 3 moons and endless stars, it was simpler than that. It was the day fear lost to love. It was the day a child's hug changed the course of history. It was the day humanity chose to be worthy of the stars.